even though the garage sale wasn't scheduled to kick off until Friday, with the plan to wrap up by Saturday, unless, of course, you believed your old stuff was worth more than a weekend's work. My family helped me get things ready on Wednesday night. Together with Lauren, my mother, and Molly, my older sister, we kept going until late that evening, then worked like clockwork all through Thursday. By 8 a.m. on Friday, we had boxes filled with pre-priced items, all ready to go. It was hard for me to pick up, touch, and look over those things that once held so much meaning for both of us. Now, some stranger would take them, carrying pieces of our memories with them. Maybe a neighbor would buy a slice of that past, a small remnant of the happy life that was once lived in this house. Each room grew eerily empty as things disappeared. The echoes, long tucked away in corners, returned, settling in as if they now owned the place. The hardest part was the master bedroom. The skirt I'd bought for her in Maui was on sale. 2 identical pairs of sandals we wore along the beach on that trip, no longer needed. Her blouses, trousers, skirts, and endless shoes in all styles and colors. I couldn't help but wonder if we could even sell all of it. Mom suggested starting at $10 a pair, though I knew each was worth far more. My wife had a true talent for handling a credit card. Nearly everything I picked up stirred memories. More than once, I had to turn away to discreetly wipe away a tear. Maybe time would soften the memories, but not yet. It felt like every box I opened was cutting my heart deeper. Mom kept shooing me into the kitchen to take breaks, but sitting there only made things worse. My new apartment was small. I didn't need all those pots, pans, or plates there anyway. By the time we were done, the garage was crammed from floor to ceiling with boxes. The plan was for Eric, my father, and his friends to show up in what looked like legit law enforcement uniforms, stuff they'd picked up from a Halloween store. They had permits to carry firearms and intended to strut around the crowd looking official. Word quickly spread that anyone thinking of trying a 5-finger discount would be better off elsewhere. Mom took charge of the cash from Friday's sales. I was outside before dawn, setting up tables and tents. Fortunately, the weather was on our side, light wind, no rain in the forecast. Even this early, a few eager buyers were already driving by, asking if we were open. It's always the same with garage sales. There are always early birds trying to score a deal. Molly arrived around 7 a.m. with fresh donuts. Soon after, Mom and Dad showed up. While the women bustled about, the men began hauling furniture out of the house. With each item we carried out, the crowd in the yard seemed to double in size. It was surprising to see so many people at such an early hour. Mom had volunteered to handle the money, and I was thankful we'd thought ahead and brought a large stash of disposable bags for customers' purchases. Molly had a knack for working the crowd, cracking jokes, and giving people exactly the kind of answers they wanted to hear. 2 of our neighbors also took advantage of the gathering and put out their own things for sale. We exchanged pleasantries with them. Amber, Olivia's closest friend from the neighborhood, showed up just before 8 a.m. "Tyler, what is going on here?" she demanded. "Good morning, Amber. This is called a garage sale," I said, sweeping my hand toward the yard. "I know what a garage sale is," she snapped. "Olivia told me you were just selling a few things. But this, well, that's exactly what we're doing. And it's not even 8 a.m., and we've already sold some great stuff," I said, with a hint of pride. "She didn't mention anything about furniture," Amber said, her eyes narrowing as she looked around. "Maybe she didn't want you to know," I said, flashing a smile. "Sorry, Amber. I'd love to chat, but I've got work to do. Enjoy the sale." I gave her my best grin and moved on. Amber didn't seem too pleased about how easily I brushed her off. She and Olivia always acted like they were in control of everything, so I wasn't shocked when my phone rang a few minutes later. "Hey, Olivia. Look, I can't talk long, busy with the sale. We've got a crowd here, but we're managing just fine." "Tyler, Amber said you've got clothes and furniture all over the front yard and driveway," she said, clearly annoyed. "Well, you know Amber, she doesn't miss a thing. And yeah, things are moving fast here." "Well, that's it. Nice chatting with you," I said, cutting the conversation short. "Don't you dare hang up," Olivia yelled, but I was already pressing the end call button. That was her first call. I let the next one go to voicemail, and the one after that. You get the idea. Oh damn, the paintings? I forgot about them. I rushed back into the house, took them down from the walls and hauled them outside. The frames alone cost 10 times what I was asking for them. When I returned to the yard, Mom handed me an envelope with $500, and it wasn't even 8:15 yet. Not bad. Looking around, I realized that even though the crowd was growing, our mountain of stuff barely seemed to shrink. Every time space cleared on a table, Molly would dump out another box. By then, the street in front of the house had turned into a zoo. Someone was trying to back a pickup truck into the driveway to load a dresser. Mom handed me another envelope with 500 more bucks. A woman was frantically trying on Olivia's shoes, her eyes burning like she was on a mission to walk away with 10 or 20 pairs worth hundreds of dollars. Olivia called again, and I decided it was time to have some fun. "Hello?" I said sweetly. "Don't you dare say hello to me. Amber told me you're selling my clothes and shoes. Your friend's got a sharp eye. You had no right to touch my things," she screeched. "Guilty as charged. But remember, you told me to get rid of the ugly stuff. I'm just following orders. You even wrote it down. I meant your ugly sweaters. The ones you think are cute, but are actually hideous. You probably should have been more specific. Wait, let me check. Yep. Right here in your handwriting. Get rid of ugly clothes. Well, I've got good news. Your wedding dress is gone. You said it made you look pregnant anyway, so I took care of that. Pretty cool. Huh. You're impossible, Tyler. What's wrong with you?" Olivia growled like a caged tiger. "Just following instructions. Oh, and most of your jeans are gone too. You always said they made your butt look big. Personally, I didn't think so. But hey, now they're out of your life forever. Why are you treating me this way?" Her voice turned into a whine. "That's a rhetorical question, right?" I replied, still cheerful. "Oh, sweetie, I've got to go," I added, glancing at the yard. "Looks like the lady wearing half your shoe collection is ready to pay up. We'll catch up later." I pressed the red button before she could say another word. "Earlier this week, Wednesday morning." "Stop. I've been through all our previous garage sales. Remember?" I said calmly. "You may have been there, Tyler, but it was always me who did all the planning. Now I'm just trying to make sure everything goes smoothly without me." Olivia was organizing the upcoming community garage sale. The HOA allowed us 2 sales a year, one in spring and another at the end of summer. We didn't participate for the money as much as to stay connected with the neighbors. Of course, it was also a good excuse to declutter and get rid of things that no longer mattered. This time, Olivia wouldn't be around. She was heading to Cleveland again, hoping to close some sort of merger deal. It was her 4th trip there in just 3 months. She wasn't a lawyer, but she worked in the legal department of her company. I waved the stack of papers she'd given me. "You've left me with 6 whole pages of instructions here. I think I'll manage," I teased. "Anyway, my parents and Molly said they'd help out. I think Mom just wants an excuse to spend more time with Molly. I only wrote down everything that came to mind, just trying to make your life easier. Right, hand me the list. I've just remembered something else." She scribbled on the papers in front of her. "Get rid of these ugly clothes." "Got it." "Sure. I'm not a child. No matter how hard we try, we won't make much on some of this stuff. And yeah, some things will definitely get stolen. That's how it always goes. Don't worry. I'll keep my most valuable things under lock and key." "You're glued to your phone," I said, noticing how often she glanced at it. "What's going on?" "I'm just checking Uber and Lyft fares," she said quickly. "They keep changing. I just saved $10, she added with a small boast, though she didn't show me the screen. Instead, she pocketed her phone. "The car will be here in 15 minutes. When the car arrived, Olivia rushed out the door in an instant. Lately, it felt like we were more like co-workers than husband and wife. You know what they say, if you pay attention, you can learn a lot. We had gone to someone's graduation party not long ago. The stress from this merger was getting to Olivia, and she had a few too many drinks. On the way home, she started teasing me. her hand wandering over my pants. Naturally, I reacted. "Well, someone's eager," she grinned drunkenly. "Step on it, Tyler." I sped up, and soon enough we were home. Once inside, we stripped down and rushed to the bedroom. Olivia pushed me onto the bed, then pounced on me with a kind of hunger I hadn't seen in a long time. It was intense, and I let myself enjoy it. But suddenly, she pulled back, quickly shifting positions until she was on top of me. We both ran out of steam pretty fast, though. Shortly after, she passed out on my chest, reeking of alcohol, too exhausted to even move off me. As I lay there, replaying the last 20 minutes in my mind, something seemed off. For one, Olivia never initiated sex like that. And two, she'd never been that wild. What had triggered this? She hadn't left my side the entire party. If it wasn't me that brought out this side of her, then who did? I began to suspect something fishy in Cleveland. So, when she announced her next trip, I called my rather expensive private investigator and filled him in on her travel plans. On her next business trip to Cleveland, she kept things discreet, but my PI installed motion-activated cameras in the hotel corridors. Olivia was good at creating distractions. She'd leave her room, head downstairs to the lobby, then return to a different floor and enter another room. Only at dawn would she return to her own room. Game, set, match. By Friday afternoon, Olivia's parents arrived. Eric tried to stop them from chatting outside, so I stepped out to meet them. "Tyler, what's going on with all this stuff?" Eric asked. "Olivia said you were only putting out a few small tables. Apparently, she's not very good at math," I replied calmly. "She also said you're not answering her calls," her mother added, clearly upset. "Not true. I've spoken to her a few times this morning. She says you hang up on her and ignore her calls afterward. Why don't you call her and tell her to warn Chris to be careful?" I suggested. "Chris? Who's Chris?" Eric asked, confused. "Oh, just the guy she's been sleeping with on her so-called business trips. If you need proof, I've got some right here." Eric's face hardened. "I'll need proof." "Here you go," I said, handing him a photo. "You can keep it. I've got plenty more. This one's from early this morning, 4:21 a.m., to be exact. See Olivia leaving the room barefoot, blouse half unbuttoned, carrying her bra and shoes? That's Chris's room. She spent the whole night there. Some exemplary wife, huh?" They were both stunned into silence. Eric struggled to speak. "But you can't sell all her things," he finally managed. "Oh, I can," I said, waving Olivia's 6-page instruction list. "And I will." Just then, I noticed my mother waving from the yard, surrounded by a swarm of buyers. "Sorry, I've got a situation to handle. Feel free to call Olivia. Don't forget to ask her about Chris." I walked away, leaving them with the photo. When I got to the yard, someone was trying to haggle over a set of furniture that had belonged to Olivia's grandmother. I wanted it gone, but I knew it was valuable Gustav Stickley circa 1910. We settled on $1,000 for a bookcase, table, and 2 chairs. They were getting a steal, but I didn't care. I just wanted it all gone. By the time I returned to Olivia's parents, they looked utterly defeated, tears in their eyes. My phone rang again. It was Olivia. I let it ring. "She says she loves you, Tyler," her mother pleaded. "Can't you two work things out?" "I've already worked it out," I replied, pointing to the chaos unfolding in the yard. "I'm getting rid of everything we don't need. I'll move into my apartment, and Olivia, well, she can stay here with Chris if she can manage the mortgage." Realizing they weren't going to change my mind, they left, wiping their tears. I did feel bad for them. We had always gotten along well. Then Olivia called again. This time I answered. "Please, stop this sale," she begged, her voice shaky. "I'm sorry, but you should see this. A bunch of strangers are swarming over our old life, snatching up everything we ever shared. It's like watching cockroaches raid a meal." "Oh my God," she sobbed on the other end. "Well, you did tell me to get rid of everything disgusting, and frankly, everything you wear makes you look like a vile, insidious creature. So, I figured your stuff needed to go. Oh, and how's Chris doing, by the way?" Olivia couldn't find the words to respond, so I hung up again. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just an hour before the sale was set to end, all the furniture, jewelry, and most of the shoes had vanished. Apparently, brands like Brooks and Hoka are a hit with the garage sale crowd. There was still quite a bit left to sell, but the lawn was already looking much clearer. I was walking around with $5,000 in my pocket, which made me a little uneasy. It wasn't the most secure feeling. I wasn't at all surprised when another message from Olivia popped up, begging me to stop wasting her things. I texted back, informing her that one of her most valuable possessions, her jewelry, had already disappeared. Someone must have snapped it up and was likely flaunting her rings, earrings, and chains by now. Her response came swiftly, dripping with rage. "You bastard!" It was 3 p.m. by now, but Molly and Lauren were still handling the sale with energy, making sure everything was sold. After another hour and a half, the traffic in our yard finally died down. Since we had no intention of extending the sale into Saturday, we packed up the remaining items and shoved them into the garage. Olivia's flight wasn't scheduled to leave Cleveland until after dinner, but she called several times from the airport. Relaxing on a sun lounger with a cold beer in hand, I finally answered one of her calls. "Hey, how was your trip?" I asked, sounding as casual as I could. "I'm sorry," came her quiet voice. "Oh, I'm sure you are," I replied. "But it doesn't change anything for me." What do you mean?" "I've moved out. Got myself a nice apartment close to work." "But how are we supposed to work things out if you've already moved?" Breaking into my best TV reporter impression, I said, "Breaking news. There's nothing to work out. You've been caught. It's over. Maybe you'll get luckier next time, though I wouldn't count on it." I could hear her choking on sobs, but strangely, I didn't feel any sympathy. "Not anymore." "I'm sorry, Tyler," she whispered. "Will you still be there when I get home?" "Absolutely not. In fact, I'm never stepping foot in that house again. Oh, and by the way, Lauren took your share of the garage sale money. She's waiting for your call. I think she's got a few choice words for you too." Honestly, I never knew my mom knew how to swear like that. Oh my God, I've really ruined my life. I'm not going to argue with that brilliant realization, although it's a bit late. If it makes you feel any better, you didn't just ruin your life. I sent a copy of the photo I gave your parents to Chris's wife. So, if you ever see her coming your way, I'd suggest running. She whimpered on the other end, and though it's petty, hearing her suffer did soothe my bruised ego a little. Eventually, she broke the silence. "Are you really divorcing me? What else did you expect?" I answered bluntly, I didn't think this through. I didn't mean for this to happen." "Well, then forgive me if I'm overreacting. I deserve it. What's going to happen to the house? You can buy my half or we can sell it. That's usually what happens in these situations. Honestly, all my good memories of that place are trash now, so I'm just glad I'm out of there. Can we still be friends?" she asked, almost pleading. "That's doubtful. Maybe in 50 years if we're stuck in the same nursing home." I chuckled. "I'm sorry," she said again, her voice barely audible. "Yes, you've mentioned that. My plane's about to land. You're not coming to pick me up, are you?" she asked, almost as if she needed confirmation. "Of course not. Hopefully your luggage doesn't get lost. It'd be a shame if you lost all those special things you packed for Chris." I couldn't resist adding that last jab. "I love you," she said softly. "If you say so," I replied, ending the call. By the following Tuesday, divorce papers had been served at Olivia's office. At the same time, Chris was hit with an alienation of affection lawsuit. I knew it might be a waste of money, but it had the desired effect. I had photos of them entering his hotel room at night and leaving the next morning. No one could prove what happened inside, but it was enough to get them both kicked off the merger team. Their career prospects in the company were now as bleak as could be. Despite having Olivia's written instructions for the garage sale, my lawyer warned me the judge might see things differently. "Let's see, there's always a chance. Even if I have to pay damages, all those precious things she cherished are now gone, along with the memories attached to them." As it turned out, The judge only ordered compensation for items Olivia could prove were hers exclusively. Luckily for me, she didn't have any receipts. So, in the end, this ordeal didn't cost me much, except for a broken heart. Don't believe anyone who says otherwise, but I'll get through this. Sure, I'm carrying some emotional baggage and trust issues now, but life's dealt worse hands to better people. I'll survive. Thanks for watching this emotional story of love, lust, and lies. Hope it touched your heart. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a fresh story every day. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so feel free to share your experiences and tell your story.